Alright guys, the first trick that I would like to show you is that catching deer is actually a lot easier than it seems. So one of the tricks that I found when trying to hunt for food without having to rely on MREs and maybe something that's a little bit closer to camp is actually using these traps here. So because I have put these traps right on the rocks where when the deer want to cross they have to funnel into this area, it's actually very easy to collect any kinds of deer when they spawn. So I'm just going to step away and then come back in about 30 seconds and I'll show you guys what I got. Okay, so I actually didn't even have to pause. I turned around once, saw a deer get hit by the trap, turned around again, saw another one get hit, and there are two deer here for me. So if you're, oh, and there's a third. So if you're just minding your business, you're taking your time, building fires, finding food, cooking food, cutting logs, this will all happen naturally. It looks like you can run away from the traps and then circle back quickly and let everything respawn again, and you should have better luck catching more deer. And since I didn't mention it before, this is the fly swatter trap that I used here by pulling out the book. And another tip for you guys, when looking for fish, unlike the deer where you can set traps to catch them easily, I found that fish are easier caught just with a spear. So if you find little coves like this, you should see a large surplus of fish as opposed to trying to go up and downstream to continually try to catch them. Um, the only catch is just being in shallow enough water so you don't lose your spear. But I found that this area, if I just circle around here a couple times, you'll be able to find one. And you really don't have to go that far or take that long to try to catch them. Another tip for you guys, as I've mentioned in a previous video, in case you didn't know, you can throw logs into log holders if you are at a distance, and you don't have to walk all the way to it. You can also throw logs into the zip line. And then if you place a log holder at the end of the zip line, that one went through the tree, but if you noticed here, one of the logs fell into this log holder. It actually prevents Kelvin from stealing your logs if you were to just have them drop directly on the ground and he's in the middle of the task of filling up log holders. Next is a tip not to forget about water. If you do not have a zip line to send logs down and you're needing an effective way to get a lot of logs down to one location, when logs land in the water, they do float and they float with a current. The catch is that you don't put logs in an area where there are too many rocks, but you can also notice as you go in some other areas like upstream here, the water doesn't move as quickly as it does in some areas, so you have to make sure you have enough current to actually push the logs along and not get stuck on the rocks. Similarly, if you don't want your logs to fall off of a waterfall, this might not be the best location to show as an example, but you can create dams with the logs themselves. So in this instance, you want to make sure that nothing falls through. You can create something like this to stop the logs from falling down the waterfall. And the last tip is for building. It's something that seems very simple and you feel silly for not realizing until you figure it out. That's how I felt when I figured this trick out. But I'm going to call it the rules of four. So remember that every log can be cut into fourths and likewise can be added up to one whole. So one of the things I was trying to do with one of my houses was to have a nice front porch like this, where I actually took a fourth of a log and stacked it on top of the foundation. And then I created a porch like this. And then I was trying to figure out how to connect the porch, how to make it look nice. And one of the things that I forgot was that I could actually let the porch wrap around like this. You can place a log here. And then now that you have a fourth of a log here to make it reach the same height as everything above without any silly slopes, you just take your 3/4 of a log and stack it on top to make it equal the rest. So this is a nice way that you can have a wraparound porch and then enclose the walls without having any funny edges. Again, I know that sounds super simple and sounds very obvious, but I know myself and a few others weren't quite thinking that intelligently when we first started playing the game. So I hope this was helpful. I'm starting to make some new content. I love Sons of the Forest. I'm having a great time, so I just wanted to share my love for it and tips and tricks that I figured out along the way. So please like and subscribe and comment to let me know what else you'd like to see.